Hey everyone, it's Friday, January 1st, 2021. The time is 3:47 p.m. and the temperature right now is 2 degrees Celsius. I'm here on the eastern edge of the Parkdale neighborhood. And I believe this here is known as the Parkdale Amphitheater. And that is Queen Street West, and that's a look facing west into the Parkdale and Little Tibet neighborhoods. And the plan for this New Year's Day walk is to head east along the West Queen West neighborhood. West Queen West is located between Dufferin Street, which is right here to the west, and Bathurst Street to the east. Here's a look south down Dufferin Street. And I hope everyone's having a good New Year's so far. I spent last night indoors. I watched Action Kids live stream from New York City. And then I fired up a stream of my own from my other Johnny Stumbles channel. So it was a pretty good but rather low-key New Year's celebration this year. There was a light show at the CN Tower, but I watched that for all of a minute on City TV before I determined that it was unfortunately rather lame. It was a good idea, but without any fireworks, I don't think it was really even worth watching. And coming up ahead here is Sudbury Street on the right, and on the north side is Gladstone Avenue with the Gladstone Hotel on the corner there. This is a 37-unit, or rather room hotel. It was built, or originally opened in 1889. And each room is unique and one of a kind. They're all individually decorated by various artists. It's one of two sort of art and music themed hotels in the area. The other being the Drake Hotel, which we'll walk past. And just prior to the 2000s, it was a bit of a flop house. So the hotel changed ownerships and was revamped. There was even a documentary on it. I think it was called Last Call at the Gladstone. I was looking for a way to watch it online. I think that would be a rather neat view. And I think it has to do with the rather upscale transformation from it being a flop house to a somewhat upscale boutique hotel that serves what is now a rather trendy neighborhood. In fact, it was back in September of 2014 that Vogue magazine ranked West Queen West as one of the 15 coolest neighborhoods in the world. It actually appeared second on that list. I've never particularly liked this development across the street. It looks more in line with what you would see in the suburbs than in a big city. You will notice there's a number of what would normally be vibrant bars and cafes, such as this place here. But of course, due to the current restrictions, a lot of them have been dying, unfortunately. And here's the Drake Hotel. This too used to be a flop house just prior to the 2000s. They also have a restaurant and a rooftop lounge and a live music venue. And they also own the Drake General Store, which is right across the street. The music venue showcases mostly local and indie artists, although I recall hearing that Beck played there once upon a time. There's a look at a new development across the street. Just want to take a quick look in here. There's a lot of street art and sort of planned graffiti and murals and that sort of thing in West Queen West. And just to the south of here would be the Liberty Village neighborhood on King West. And this here is known as Lisgar Park. It's kind of an interesting urban park. I'm sure it was built as part of the deal with these developers who put in these condos. And here's a place that can't be doing too well during the pandemic. It is the Theater Center. And I have never seen this particular neighborhood so dead in the middle of the day. I'm assuming being New Year's Day has a lot to do with it. It's a rather beautiful old building. I was looking for a plaque that might tell us a bit more about it. And I'm now on the south side of Queen Street West, and here is Dovercourt Road coming up. There's the Dog and Bear. There's also an art gallery in that space. I certainly noticed a much higher number than usual of vacant storefronts. This is something of a destination neighborhood. A lot of people would make their way here from after work and hang out in a lot of the bars and restaurants. It's also an area where a lot of people who come in from the suburbs on the weekends would go. So it's kind of particularly hard hit. Here's an old YMCA. That building goes back to 1890. Just wanted to get a better look at it. And in addition to all the vacant storefronts, there's also a lot of cannabis shops moving in. That's kind of happening all over the city, but particularly in this area. Here's a whole row of vacant storefronts, smack in the middle of one of Toronto's trendiest neighborhoods. It's a bit of a shame. And just across the street is the CAMH, Center for Addiction and Mental Health. And that site was originally home to what they referred to as a lunatic asylum. And that dates back to 1850. However, it eventually evolved into the CAMH facility. I think it was renamed to that in the late 90s. There's also an old psychiatric hospital on Lakeshore in Mimico that is now part of the Humber College Lakeshore campus. I have done a video that went through there before. That's a rather beautiful site. There's some more vacant retail. If you were to make a drinking game out of this, you'd be in bad shape in no time. I'll have to go back and look at some of my walks through this neighborhood before the pandemic and just see just how many places seem to have disappeared overnight. This here is also part of the CAMH facility. And this is Ossington Avenue. There's a look north up Ossington. That's considered to be somewhat of a hipster neighborhood as well. Frankie's World's Best Burgers. They don't look like they've been open for a while. So the footprint of the old lunatic asylum, as they called it, was quite large. And here's the Cocktail Emporium. They have a location in Kensington Market. And there's another cocktail shop right next to it. I know these two stores are bitter rivals. And coming up, we have Shaw Street. I'm gonna have to double check the temperature. It certainly feels a bit colder than 2 right now. Few blocks to the south there is King Street, where you can also take a streetcar east to west across the city, or at least through downtown and the surrounding parts. I took the streetcar out to where I started this walk. I ended up taking the subway from Eglinton down to Queen Station. Then I jumped on the subway. Or rather, I jumped on the streetcar. But I knew once I saw 3 streetcars pass going in the opposite direction, I was in for a bit of a wait. And then finally, a westbound streetcar just like this showed up, and it was going exceptionally slow. I have no idea why. I did take down the number of the streetcar. I'm kind of thinking of contacting the TTC to say what the heck was up with that. Why was it so slow to arrive, and then it just kind of slowly lurched all the way across Queen Street. This is never a particularly fast-moving streetcar route.
Here.
So earlier I passed the Candy Factory lofts, and here are the Chocolate Company lofts. And coming up just here on the left is Trinity Bellwoods Park. I think it was originally just Bellwoods Park. And it was originally home to Trinity College, which has since been rolled into the University of Toronto. The Garrison Creek used to run through here, but that's since been buried. There's a buried bridge on the property as well, and a large donut-shaped bowl in the middle of the park that's popular for kids who like to go tobogganing or just any type of activity. As a kid, I was struggling for words there because I've always associated those hills with taking a GT snow racer out. I don't know if they had those down in the States. Although as much as I liked GT snow racers, I kind of preferred the crazy carpets. And just along the next path are cherry blossom trees. So every spring, that's a very popular spot to go for a stroll. This little tent village seems to be a fixture of this park. I think it sprung up somewhere around spring. Our fire truck seems to be headed up Gorevale Avenue. Fire trucks are first responders, so there's a whole range of calls that they respond to, not just fires. So hopefully everyone's okay. There's an old Ukrainian church. Things are starting to look a bit more lively around here the more east I go towards downtown.
I'm a very country freak, but this is next.
That is Niagara Street. It'll actually take you down past King Street, and then it'll jut east out to Bathurst Street. I think it will then continue on east past there. I have no idea why this car sees the need to block half of the crossing. And there's Sanko. That's kind of a neat Japanese general store. They sell all kinds of different goods and knickknacks. I don't know how they're supposed to operate in this current climate where they can only offer curbside pickup. I guess all these stores are just expected to spring up elaborate web presences. And it's yet another gray and gloomy day here in the city.
Yeah. Then we
It's been a while since I've seen an actual blue sky.
West Camera.
There's Euclid Avenue. You can take that north up through Little Italy and into Koreatown. It's a neighborhood I recorded a walkthrough yesterday. There's a former home of Nando's Chicken, and there used to be a pool hall upstairs called Rack. I think both of those businesses are victims of these imposed restrictions on them. And here is Palmerston Avenue. So just up ahead here is Bathurst Street, where we'll come to the end of the West Queen West neighborhood. There's Markham Street. And just up here on the northwest corner of Bathurst and Queen is the West Neighbourhood House. It was formerly known as St. Christopher House. That's run by a non-profit charity which provides social services to those in need. And here we go. It's Bathurst and Queen Street West. I hope you enjoyed this walk heading east along the Queen Street West or West Queen West neighborhood. There are links to my Patreon account in the description if you wish to support the channel. You can also check out channel memberships on the main page. And I do have a seldom updated Instagram account. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe, and here's to a better 2021 than 2020 was. I'll catch you on the next one.